our program tonight, we are beaming our searchlights on the outbreak of dengue fever in parts of the country, as announced by the Nigeria Center for Disease Control and Prevention, NCDC. The NCDC had announced that 71 suspected cases of dengue fever have been cited in 3 local government areas in Sokoto states. The agency's report said 13 cases have been confirmed, with neither severe cases nor deaths recorded so far. At the moment, Sokoto is the only state with the disease. The disease has caused significant concern within the community and beyond, hence prompting urgent discussions on its impact, measures to be taken, as well as strategies that aims at safeguarding the health and well-being of citizens. I will be joined by a health expert to discuss the outbreak of dengue fever in Sokoto, measures to take and how to safeguard lives of the people. Thanks for joining us. I am Victoria Clinton. Welcome to Nigeria Today. Joining me tonight to discuss the outbreak of dengue fever is Dr. Isaac Abuja, a public health specialist. Glad to have you once again on Nigeria Today.
My pleasure. Good evening. Good evening, viewers.
Doc, we'll just go straight to the point. What exactly is dengue fever? Because there have been a lot of conflicting explanations from here and there, you know. So what is dengue fever?
Dengue fever is a type of fever caused by a virus that is normally carried by a type of mosquito, not all types of mosquito, a particular type of mosquito. And even within that particular type of mosquito, the female ones are the ones that are more likely to carry, but both male and female of that particular species of mosquito carry the virus. And that species of mosquito is called Aedes aegypti. There are many types. You don't have to worry about them. The only is to know that it's carried by mosquito. Occasionally, animals that are affected can also affect human beings. In other words, if that mosquito bites an animal, and the same mosquito, another mosquito of the same type, bites that animal, carries the blood, and bites a human being, they can transmit the virus into the person. But it is a viral disease. It's caused by a virus, and the patient would usually have fever, joint pains, muscle aches, sometimes bleeding when it is very serious. The patient will sweat a lot, may vomit. Not all patients would have all the symptoms, but the key cardinal symptoms are fever. That is a certainty. And muscle and body aches. Your joints are aching. You as if somebody has beaten you. I mean, you'll be restless. Very severe pains, as if you're having cramps. And when it is very serious, the person can also start bleeding from the nose, from the gums, from the ears, and so on. Patients that are suffering from dengue fever usually have very high fever, and therefore they become dehydrated very quickly because they are losing water through sweating. And one of the things that medical people use to know, like if you are in Sokoto now, if they are suspecting, one of the things that they would look forward to or look at and say, this might be, there has to be a lab test to confirm. Okay. But one of the things to look at that would be a prime, that make a person a prime suspect, is when the fever is spiraling up. You start in the morning, you have fever, by afternoon the fever is going up, and the patient's condition is getting worse. That is dengue fever. There are very good news about the disease. One, it is not too common. Two, it is self-limiting, or it can be resolved very easily. Within 5 to 7 days, it can go. 3, the treatment is very easy. Ordinary food, ordinary fruits can cure, and plenty of water can cure it. simple medication can cure it. 4, Aedes aegypti mosquito, the one that carries the virus, is not too common. And the disease is usually in the full or subtropical areas. Like Nigeria is a full tropical area. African countries, largely, full tropical. There are some countries that are subtropical. In other words, they have hot weather, hot summer, and also cold winter. Okay. Those kinds of places might also have Aedes aegypti species of mosquito that carries this virus. The bad news, or another good news about the disease is that there are 4 types of 4 species of this Aedes aegypti mosquito. 4 species. If you are bitten by one, say type A or 1, and it carries the virus and infects you, and you recover, it comes again and bites you, carries the virus to you again, that same type, chances are that you would not be affected as seriously in terms of severity of the case. But you could also fall sick very easily and more severely. That type A that beat you, that gave you the virus, if it goes and bites somebody, or type B goes and bites that same person that was bitten by type A, chances that this person would become seriously sick is less.
Yeah.
It's the same Aedes mosquito, but different types.
Okay.
And there are about 4 species of it. So the bad news is that unlike other viral diseases, that once you have it once, or you will become immune
To it.
This one doesn't really.
There's no immunity.
No, not very often.
Okay.
Not very often. And because of the different species of the same Aedes mosquito that I talked about.
Now, you talked a lot about the dengue fever. Now, can it be passed from, you talked about from mosquito now, that's, maybe attack somebody. So from a person to another person, is it possible?
No.
Okay.
No, if I have it,
yes,
I cannot pass it to you.
Except there's a mosquito bite.
The only way I can pass it to you is if that mosquito bites me,
okay,
carries my blood, and infects you with it. But it is not a contagious disease. You cannot get it because I get it, and I'm sitting close to you. No. Or I touch you, or kiss you, or stay in the same room with you. No. It's not transmitted in that way.
Okay.
It must have to be carried by the mosquito from my blood to your body and into your blood system. That's the only way you can get it.
Growing up, what the kind of perception we have about mosquitoes is don't keep stagnant water around where
I'm coming to that.
Any area that you see water. So how come? Because Sokoto, to me, I feel Sokoto is a dry place that water, rain don't really fall as often as it does in some areas, as we have like in River State, have in Bayelsa and all of that. So why Sokoto?
If you notice, this is one of the seasons for mosquito. Mosquitoes breed very well during 2 seasons of the year. When it is rainy season, because there's plenty of water, stagnant water everywhere, and sometimes too during this time when it is cold in the night. It is cool in the night. So, and they like good temperature, not too hot and not too cold. That's why they do well. They multiply very well in tropical and subtropical areas. Yes. Like I said before, the good news is that this particular type of mosquito is not everywhere.
It's not common.
It's not common. There are not many. So that's good news. If people are affected in Sokoto, maybe in a few local governments, it may not go around all the local governments in Sokoto. We hope not. And
so 3 local governments actually were mentioned.
Yes, so far. And it may not go to either spread to other local governments or the nearby states. It might be limited to those areas. But the possibility of it going around other local governments in Sokoto State and neighboring states is high. Because if it bites me, and I have it in my blood, and I go to Kebi, which is next door, and there's Aedes aegypti mosquito, and bites me and carries it and bites somebody else, that person could get it.
Okay, it has to be that species of mosquito.
It is the one that
if
carries...
another mosquito bites you and goes and bites another person, it won't affect the person at all.
This is the one that commonly carries it.
Carries it?
Yeah.
So, you know, mosquito is something you really cannot predict. You really cannot predict the movement.
That's why I say we are coming to that. That's
so
the prevention.
how can we prevent it?
Exactly. This is the issue. This is where we should talk about. Whatever you do normally to prevent mosquitoes is what you should be doing. One, make sure that your surrounding, your rooms are in the first place protected with screens so that mosquitoes cannot enter the room easily. Keep your doors closed. Light your room and the place where you stay in the evening. If you notice mosquitoes don't like light, if they want to bite, they would normally hide under the table, somewhere where it is a little bit dark. When it is bright like it is now in the studio, you will not see any mosquito. And even if you see, it's not looking for you. It might bite you by chance, but it's not looking for you. But when you dim the light a little bit, give it a chance to hide somewhere, it will look for you. And they smell too. They smell people's sweat, so they may come to bite. So people in Sokoto, for example, right now, especially in those local governments and the surrounding local governments, should do everything to get rid of mosquito. One, they should use mosquito nets while sleeping. They should use insecticide to spray their rooms and their surroundings. They should look for any stagnant water and pour either engine oil, whatever type of oil that will prevent the larvae, the eggs of the mosquito, to thrive, to produce more mosquitoes. They should dress and cover their bodies so that they are not exposed to mosquitoes at night. If they have, now they should also be drinking plenty of water because the weather is hot there at this time of the year. So that in the event that they are bitten by the mosquito and infected by the virus and the fever starts, drinking water is a way of, one, cooling the body, two, replacing the fluid that the person will be losing. Then improving their immunity to this infection. Vitamin C is a very good source of immunity to this particular dengue fever that we are talking about. They should eat plenty pawpaw, plenty guava, plenty mangoes, plenty oranges, bell pepper. Those things contain a lot of vitamin C, and they help to build immunity against dengue virus.
Now,
or the virus that causes dengue fever.
Okay. In your opinion, what strategies should the authorities in this area, talking about Sokoto now, because this is the only state we have this virus, in your opinion, what strategies should the authorities there take to prevent this disease from spreading further? Because there are indications that it can also be higher than the number.
Number one is public awareness. They should create public awareness what it is, how it should be prevented, how they will know that this is dengue fever. You know, in our environment here, we have all kinds of fever caused by malaria, caused by pneumonia, caused by this, caused by that. So if you have fever, it doesn't necessarily mean that it is dengue fever. But if you are in Sokoto right now, especially in those 3 local governments, and you have fever, you are a suspect until it is ruled out. So they should carry out health education in all their health facilities. They should do what we call social mobilization. They should pass the information around in English, in any local language that the people speak, in a way that they will understand. They should tell the people to make sure that they do everything they can do to prevent mosquito bite and declare mosquitoes as their greatest enemy at this point in time. So any mosquito you see, whether it is big or small, kill the mosquito. Yes, because it's your enemy. You don't have a way of knowing if this is the Aedes aegypti mosquito. All you know is mosquito, and there's no way you would say because this one doesn't look like. You don't know. So mosquitoes are your enemy at this point in time. So they should do everything to prevent mosquitoes coming in contact with human beings. And then they should educate people that if they have any signs of fever, signs of bleeding through the gum, through the ears, rashes, joint pain, muscle aches, nausea, they should report immediately to the nearest health facility. Like I said, the thing about, well, good because it's relatively good, is that you cannot pass it from one person to the other if not through the mosquito. The mosquito is the vector. So people should know that this type of thing is going on, that this type of fever is occurring, and when they have any symptom that I have described, muscle aches, joint pain, fever, nausea, vomiting, sweating, bleeding through the ears, through the skin, through the gum, they should report. And if you are brushing your teeth in the morning and you notice that blood is coming out, which doesn't normally happen, you know already that you are likely carrying the virus. So report to the nearest health facility. And again, another good thing about dengue fever is that it can be treated at home. It's not every case that would have to end up in hospital, but you should know what to do.
Okay, so I was about coming to that.
Yes.
If you have somebody at home, for instance, that starts developing these kinds of symptoms and all of that, and probably you're not too close to a hospital or don't have access to a health center, what do you do?
Yeah, there are things you should do. Number one, do those things that will encourage you to overcome the infection.
Like what?
Number one, you drink plenty water. Plenty. Always be drinking water. Eat fruits that have plenty vitamin C. Pawpaw, guava, bell pepper is a vegetable. It has a lot of vitamin C. Mangoes. Get any mango that you see and eat. Those things contain a lot of vitamin C, and they will help you to overcome the infection. Then, apart from doing those things to prevent, you should try as much as possible to go to a health center and make sure that you are checked. That you have fever or have some of these symptoms don't necessarily, it's not a confirmation, it's only a suspicion. The way you confirm is to do a lab test in the hospital. That's how you would do confirmation. You recall that when you have malaria, sometimes you wake up in the morning, every part of your body is looking like somebody beat you, and you're not feeling too well. So that you have muscle pains, don't necessarily mean that you have dengue fever. But if the muscle pains are very serious, and you feel like you're having cramps, yes, that's a good sign. You have pains in your joints. The fever is relentless, it's going spiraling up, like I said. Okay. Then the things not to eat, if you have any of these symptoms, you should not take alcohol. Fortunately, most people in Sokoto don't drink alcohol anyway. Okay.
That's the Muslims.
Yeah, most people, they don't take alcohol.
Alcohol, okay.
Some people do secretly, but most people don't. You should not take alcohol. Should not eat spicy foods. Should not eat plenty of fried foods or fatty foods. You should not take aspirin.
Aspirin?
No. If you have dengue fever and you take aspirin, your chances of bleeding will increase. Okay. And you will come down with very severe case. Let me explain again. Even though I said that dengue fever is self-limiting, meaning that with minor treatment it will go in about 5 to 7 days. When it becomes serious, it can be really serious. Patient will bleed. Patient can go into a shock. Because of the high fever, the patient will be sweating a lot and losing a lot of fluids. And the fluid that the patient is losing must be replaced as adequately as possible. How? By drinking plenty of water. If need be, by giving intravenous fluid.
Well, you know, something that kind of surprised me is the fact that you mentioned that it's, you know, treatable. But
yes.
I've seen, you know, there's somewhere that it's not really treatable, but it's preventable. So I don't know how to really relate this.
Yes, you can say it is treatable. Generally, viruses are difficult to classify as being treatable diseases because there are not too many drugs that kill virus. If you take antibiotics, antibiotics mean against bacteria. That's the meaning of antibiotic. Anti, against. Biotic, bacteria. So if you take antibiotics for dengue fever, for example, it will not cure it. And you don't need antibiotics except if you have some infection because of the rashes that you get from the disease. Then the antibiotics will be to prevent infection from the rashes that you have, but not to treat or to kill the virus that is causing the problem. Some people make mistake of thinking that if I take antibiotic it will cure. No, antibiotics are not for this. And you must not take aspirin. I'm emphasizing on this because there are lots of patients who are advised to take aspirin once in a while, especially elders, and they keep aspirin in their houses. If you have dengue fever, don't take aspirin. It will increase your chances of bleeding. Now, patients that have asthma, patients that have diabetes, patients that have sickle cell anemia, those three in particular have to be very, very careful. If they have dengue fever, their chances of getting worse in a very short time and even dying is very high, higher than the ordinary people. So if I were in Sokoto now and I have diabetes, or I have asthma, or I have sickle cell anemia, any of these three in particular, I would be very careful. I would do everything I can to prevent mosquitoes coming around me.
Okay. Thank you so much for that insightful information there.
Pleasure.
And that's it on Nigeria Today. We say a very big thank you to Dr. Isaac Abuja, a public health specialist. Thank you so much for your time and your contribution, for that information there. It was
My pleasure.
really, really eye-opening.
My pleasure.
And thank you for being part of the program. Don't forget, Nigeria Today airs weekday at 7:30 p.m. on NTA News 24. You can also check out this episode and other episodes on www.youtube.com/NTA News 24 Hub. Once again, thank you for watching. I am Eukaria Clinton. See you tomorrow.